Howdy, this is Heidi Foy with Bullfrog Creatives, and you are watching the NFR Hangover. We are about to recap round 5, and round 5 did not disappoint. Before we get into round 5 and bringing in our guests to the stage, do a little bit of housekeeping here this morning. Want to give a shout out to Cinch Jeans. They clearly are doing the best they can to make us look good this morning and every day on the rodeo trail. Also want to give a shout out to Branded Buzzworm. They are a new partnership on this platform. They have graciously given us a promo code to give out to you guys. NFR Hangover is the code, and that will get you 25% off, y'all. 25% off. That's a great deal. When Christine told me 25% off, I think Greg choked on his tongue. But there you go, 25% off. So they are the brand that brings you the Buckle Bunny Pimp and Rodeo Bum of the go-round. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the broadcast. Also want to give some kudos to 180 Project. It is your turn. This is Tony Branquino's passion project, and if you want more information about that, reach out to him. Also, Garden City Community College. This is the reason that we have the NFR Hangover. Jim Boy Hash had this brainchild, 4 years ago, and here we are still doing it. And then also shout out to Bullfrog Creatives, which is weird when I say that, but it's me. And we have just recently launched our college rodeo recruitment coaching platform. And you can find that at bullfrogcreatives.com or bullfrogcreatives.com/college rodeo recruiting. All right. Without further ado, you guys stay tuned. You're going to have a full screen and a packed house this morning, but we should have some pretty good stories coming into that. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. We do have a full screen. Look at all these faces. So I will just run through. Jim Boy Hash is with us across the top. We have Dennis Anderson joining us. All right, I had to look up your last name on my board because I couldn't see it. Dennis Anderson, which we talked about Dennis a little earlier in the week. He wrote a song about 30 years ago about slack at the NFR. So we're going to bust that baby out today and tell some stories. Also, we have Doug Champion joining us today. He is the founder and one of the coaches at Champion Living Fitness. If you guys have watched NFR Hangover in the past, we have had Doug on before. It's been to us a couple of years, so we're glad to have him back. And then, of course, rounding out our guest visitors is Mr. Tony B. He is not flying the helicopter today. He is just a passenger, as they are still on their way to Vegas. Your Vegas vacation is a little crazy.
Oh, yeah. It's like Clark Griswold family going. We did 17 hours yesterday and got to the Wickenburg, and then stayed up for 2 or 3 hours talking to family and got up this morning, and now we're getting ready. They're getting Starbucks. I'm drinking my coffee, and we got 4 hours left, and then Viva Las Vegas. It's go time.
Woo. All right. So where do you guys even want to start?
Oh, we got a lot to unpack today. We got 2 great guests here. We got a bareback riding interview that was outstanding. We got controversy in the team roping, the very low-key event of the finals. We got the Ram Top Gun Award leader in the clubhouse right now, Kai Hamilton, and also the world bull riding leader that gets knocked out last night. We got a lot to unpack, so let's kick it off. Jim Boy, you take the lead.
Well, it's kind of been uneventful all week. It's just kind of been, the first night was so, and they had the shadows in the arena and the ground wasn't great, but there wasn't much to really discuss. But how about that little boy? They say he was 6 years old that sang the national anthem last night. As we've talked on here, that's not an easy song to sing. And I was like, come on, buddy, you're almost there. Hang in there. You're almost to the end. You haven't messed it up. I mean, he did awesome.
Didn't have the words written down. My favorite part was his little hand in his pocket.
That was so Western American right there. That was to the core of what the rodeo lifestyle is. That was amazing. And we waited till round 5. We had a great opening, and then we let controversy fly. I think you need to rewrite that big rule book you had, Jim Boy, on the crossfire rule, because woo!
Yeah, I hurried up and drew my picture. We'll talk about that when we get to the team roping. But
I love it.
I
I
threw
love
the
it when you
book
bring
out,
props.
just threw him a picture. But yeah, so today, the two perf day, there's been some people in our other group, the popular group of rodeo. There's people saying this isn't the first time there's been two perfs. I'm pretty sure they're mixed up. Are they just thinking maybe when it was a Sunday afternoon, they remember that afternoon perf? But there's a few people saying 85, 86, maybe 87. There was two perfs in one day, but I don't think so.
I don't think Vegas would want them out of the casinos twice in one day. They might want us to have the perfect 10 in the morning every round and then get them back in the casino all day long. But I don't know, because 85, 86, I was 10, 11 years old and I didn't pay much attention.
All right. Well, let's go to Dennis. Dennis, do you got your guitar warmed up?
Well, it's pretty early in the morning, but it's warm enough.
Tell us the story here. Tell us a little bit of your background and how this came about.
So, long story short, I went to college on a rodeo and an art scholarship. So you want to talk about two polar opposite peer groups. Yeah. Anyhow, went to the college finals. Bronk Rumford was my coach, and so we ended up going to circuit finals a bunch. Ended up moving out to Colorado. So I was playing guitar all the time, and when I filled my card, I couldn't get a perf. I got slacked literally 10 times in a row. And if there was 36 entries in one go, they'd put 15 in each perf, and I'd have to ride in the slack at like 6 in the morning. And so I just started showing up. I'm like, well, I got no place else to be. And if they're going to put me up, they're going to have to run one in for me. And then I placed at Wichita, and I literally I left the bar and went and slept in the parking lot for a couple hours and got up. And like I said, they ran slack at 6 or 7 in the morning. And this big bulldogger wanted to know what I was there for. And I said, for the bull riding slack. And he looks around because it's just me. And he goes, all of you? And I said, yeah. I said, that's me, myself, and I. One to ride, one to pull my rope, and one to yell at me to bear down. And he said, well, good luck to you. So after that, I was driving back home, and I got to thinking, well, shoot, if I could just keep placing in the slack, maybe I'd make the finals. But then my luck would be I'd get slacked at the NFR. So, nobody would ever know I was there. And, here we are now. It's 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and they're going to have slack at the finals. So the only thing that didn't come true is I'm not there. So I guess this is close enough.
All right, let's hear it.
How's the sound?
Sounds good.
Thumbing through the sports news, seeing what closes today. I missed the books at Phillipsburg. I guess I slept too late. I got callbacks on to other shows. Now the stock is drawn. I guess I'll call up Procom and see which ones I'm on. Calling into Procom, I got 'em on the line. What's your card number and name? It's the same thing every time. The bull god sure must get a kick when they see me dialing in, calling back from my positions to be told I'm slacked again. And I know this sounds like sour grapes. It ups the purse, I know. Even Tough got slack sometimes, but he never got slacked 10 times in a row. I've called and checked the preferences, I've entered where they're light. I've soloed and I buddied. I still can't draw up right. So I've come to this conclusion. If things stay as they are, I'm gonna be the first man in history to ride and slack at the NFR. Calling in the Procom, I got 'em on the line. What's your card number and name? It's the same thing every time. Now I can't say I'll be the first one.
That was awesome, Dennis.
That was.
Yeah, who knew that would ever actually be a thing?
Well, I do have a Vegas story for that if you want to hear it.
Oh yeah.
So I released the tape.
And drugs?
Well, I can say I prostituted myself.
Perfect.
Johnny Yu had a band for Dodge trucks, and he tracked me down behind the chutes in Laramie one summer, and I had released a tape of rodeo songs, and he tracks me down and he says, "Hey, you need to come out and play in Vegas." And I had no idea who he was, and I'm trying to get on, and he's just yakking, and I'm like, whatever, and I thought he was full of crap. And shortly after that, I've got a ticket to Vegas. And he says, "Send your music out. My band will learn it. We're going to have this showcase." And it was myself and Bruce Ford, a guy named Kyle Evans, and I think Monty Henson was part of this. And so we go on the stage at dark 30 after everything, and I'm Gunner. And very quickly, I realize that the band has not learned anything that I've put out. It's like improvisational jazz. It's like everybody's tuning to a different song. And so I limped through the first one, and we go to the next one, and it was worse. And everybody's out there, and they're drunk. So, I mean, that's how bad it sounded that the drunks were even thinking it sounded bad. So I turned around to them, and I said, "Hey, do you know this George Strait song?" And they said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, let's get this train back on the track." And as I step up to the mic, there's these three girls standing in front of the stage, and I hear one of them say, just as plain as day, "I wonder how bad he's going to fuck up this song." And we did. And it just, and finally I turned around and said, "You guys, why don't you guys go take a smoke break or something?" They said, "No, we have to back it." I said, "I don't need any more help. If I'm going to die, let me die on my own." And so then I played that song and another one, and I walked off the stage and went and got a cab and went to the airport and flew home. I got an early flight home. It was horrible. I'd rather take a hooking any day than that. So there was my big Vegas debut.
Your big debut.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So are you into marketing now? Is that what you told me? With your cap
Well,
on?
I work for a company called Dairy Tech, and we do small batch pasteurizers for colostrum. And I am the creative director for black and white calves all over the world. So we're in like 9 countries, and then all over the United States. And I am the brand manager. So I create everything that's there, their websites, their marketing, everything else.
And Bronk Rumford had a hand in that.
Yes, he did.
I tried getting Bronk to come on the show. I asked him the other day, but he's so busy doing what he does out there. Kind of helps get the cattle in the building, and I think he's kind of in charge of the sorting crew and moving everything back and forth. So they're really gonna be hooked up today. But
well, if you've been around Bronk, you remember back in the old days when you'd have to wash horses and sort and everything. And if you were on the Rumford payroll, you'd have to get up at 6 a.m. and start that. And they would stretch that out like it was fun. And we're like, we want to stay in the air conditioning. Let's get this stuff done so we can rest up. No, God dang, we'd have to sort 14 times and count flanks. And one day I convinced, and he was never there. He always had a radio interview or a golf tournament or something. And So we're out there. And I convinced him one time. I said, "Look, let me take care of it. You do it, but let me take care of it." And I think we were at Iola, Kansas, and we get there. Everything's going slick. We were done with the sorting and everything early. Got the stuff there because at Iola they had to haul from someplace outside Iola, and all of a sudden there's a horse missing in the bronc riding, and man, Bronc is stomping, and he comes over and he does that Bronc Rumford thumb in your shoulder, cut off the wind, and he's gritting his teeth, and he said, "See, this is why we have to do it this way." He says, "Because you forgot a horse." And I happened to have his sort cards in my pocket, and I said, "Well, what horse is missing?" And he tells me, and I said, show me where that horse is in your writing in this list. And it wasn't there. And so anyhow, that's about the only time I ever got over on him.
Well, I want to come back to Dennis, but I know that Doug is going to be headed to that the slack round pretty quick. So, Doug, I'm super interested. Give us an update. Just give us like a quick update on Champion Living Fitness and maybe what you guys have been up to and what's coming up for you guys.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. First of all, really appreciate this and getting to chat with everybody. But Champion Living Fitness, we have big things going on. If you've never heard about us, we're a strength and conditioning team that specializes in helping professional rodeo athletes, and not just professional rodeo athletes of all calibers. We are helping them create not just workout plans, they're more like lifestyle plans and how they can implement fitness, nutrition, mindset, and giving them all the tools they need to be, a professional athlete. So right now we have the training is going great. We have a ton of athletes here competing at the finals. Every guy that won the rough stock last night are guys that we have worked with. So that's pretty cool to see. I really think the proof is in the pudding. The guys put the work in, and then it shows up in the results. Some things we have coming up. We just started a new rodeo. We call it a school. I call it an academy, though. It's different than any other school that's ever been done. Right now, we're only in the rough stock events, but if you've ever been to a rough stock clinic, I'm sure some of these guys can attest to this. Most of it is, most of them are free. You get to go get on a lot of animals, but you're not getting a lot of one-on-one time and really getting the fundamentals knocked down. And then on top of that, you are not learning any of the professional skills you need to be a professional rodeo athlete. There's a lot more that goes into, there's more to rodeo than just rodeo, right? Like you have to know how to run a business. You have to be able to market yourself in today's world. The sport is growing to this incredible place that we've never seen. And with that comes the athletes need to grow. And that's what we're here for, is to help them do that. And this school is really giving guys the chance to develop themselves as athletes and cowboys and not just figure out if they want to do this or not. This is somewhere they can come and learn how to get to the NFR. And it goes all the way down to learning how to enter. We have Caleb Bennett runs the guys through a class, and it comes down to even the dollar amount that it takes to enter enough rodeos to make the NFR. I didn't know that when I was 18. I had no clue. I thought you just went and got on, and if you rode good, you made it. I didn't know that you had to, have this master plan with everything, your money aligned, you're entering, how the hell you're getting there, like all of it. It all matters, and no one ever taught us that. So the goal of this school is to help younger athletes in the future of the sport get to places that we got to in a lot shorter amount of time. And that's going to help the sport elevate and hopefully help the longevity of these guys' careers. We're getting to a place where there's so much money added, and look at the standings. 3 years ago, you didn't have to make $100,000 in a season to make it in the rough stock to the finals. You're not even close. You're barely scrapping at the top 20 now with $100,000, which is crazy, but it's awesome for the guys. But I think our ultimate goal with Champion Living Fitness and for the sport of rodeos, I want to see Tom Brady's in the rough stock. I want to see guys winning world titles at 40 or healthy, can walk away on their own accord and don't have to retire because they're too hurt and they can't do it anymore. Right? I think the whole goal here is to not have to go work that 9 to 5 when you're done rodeoing. And that hasn't been a thing until now because there is enough money and guys can be smart enough with endorsements and things like that. But that being said, you got to do this a long time to do that, right? You have to be around a long time. And especially in the rough stock events, the career length just typically isn't long. So if we can implement all these things with these athletes and help them get to this next level and lengthen those careers, I really think the sky's the limit, and we're going to see a huge growth in rough stock events in the sport of rodeo, and the guys being able to do this a little bit longer.
Absolutely. So, Doug, when you were on our NFR Hangover show in 2021, I believe,
Yep.
and how many coaches did y'all have on your team at that time?
I had
Was
two
it just you?
coaches. Yeah, just two of us. It's grown immensely. We have 9 coaches now that work with us. My whole goal was to get guys, obviously, that are experts in fitness, but also have some kind of background in rodeo, because the sport is very unique. It's hard to train with or make a plan if you don't know what's going on in the actual sport from season to season. So,
Yeah, I mean, I've gone
go
through
ahead.
some PT in my time, and when I try to explain to a physical therapist, like, this is what I need to be able to do. I need to be strong here, and they look at me like I'm nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So if there was a physical therapist or someone that I could work with, or anybody could work with that already knew that aspect
Mm-hmm.
and could guide me even better, like, I can't imagine what this could have done. I mean, I had lots of health issues with my back, so just knowing that this is an option now is
Yep.
that's awesome.
Thanks. It is really cool. And we've, the whole team it's not just trainers. I have rehab specialists now on our team to make that full circle environment where you're able to come to us. We can help you through the entire process, whether you are rehabbing an injury or just want to be better at your sport. We're able to do that. And everybody knows, again, how the sport works and has been involved in the sport for a long time.
Yeah,
Well,
perfect.
Doug, I think not just the physical aspect of it, but the mental side of it, what you guys are bringing to it, and the business side of it, because it has become to where it is a business now. These guys can make a career out of it and actually be able, when they retire, they take care of their bodies, have the success that these guys are having now. They can actually take and pass on that knowledge and help the sport grow and continue to grow. Not like you say, go have to get that 9 to 5. We all know former world champions that are out there just on the 9 to 5 and not really in the rodeo world anymore. What you guys are building is great for the future of rodeo and for these young athletes. When my daughter heard, who's coming on tomorrow, I said Doug Champion and Dennis. And no offense, Dennis, she's like,
Who?
yeah, she's like, who? But
Yeah.
no, she goes, Doug Champion.
That's what they
I
say
said,
about me too, Dennis.
Champion Living. And she goes, the physical fitness, the training deal. I go, yeah. And she was excited. She's a breakaway roper. So it's bleeding down into junior rodeo, high school rodeo, and into the other events. So it's exciting.
Well, when you think about that cowboy tough mentality and how guys, especially from my generation, you just went through it. It was Butte and DMSO and smack tape, and I'll fix it in the winter. And
take a bite of the Butte pill, wash it down with beer, and go on with it.
Well, I mean, they used to hand out Darvasets and Darvons like chiclets behind the chutes back in the day, and you'd have them floating in the bottom of your gear bag, dust them off.
And something else, Dennis, I think the winter break looks different now. Yeah. Because there really isn't much of a winter break.
Mm-hmm. Well, who was it last night that Joe said, it might have been on the buckle ceremony, not only did this guy win, it was Caleb Schmidt. This guy, he says he's going to retire. He's four gold buckles, 4 average titles, wins around 6-9 tonight. Oh, yeah, and he's got 15,001 for next year already. Yeah. And Caleb's like, well, yeah, I'm going to go to the American and going to go to Houston, and it depends on how that goes, how much I go next year. And Joe's like, well, there's a lot of guys that hope you don't do good there. So, it takes one guy out of the equation for next year's NFR because you won't rodeo.
Yeah. So, Doug, you did mention, and you and I have talked off camera about this, but you mentioned trying to reach that crowd at a little bit younger age to develop them kind of earlier. Talk a little bit about what your plans are with that.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing we're seeing with these schools, with the training that we're doing, is if a lot of these kids focused on being an athlete before they learned their skill of rodeo, they would be so much further ahead in this. So what we're doing with these clinics and camps is really, trying to get this next generation, these junior high kids, and even a little younger, to build that base of strength and functionality and be able to have the hand-eye coordination, be able to balance, be able to move their body accordingly. That way, when you start coaching them and taking them through, man, it doesn't matter what event you're doing. If you're stronger and athletic, you're going to do better at that. And that's what we see today is you're starting to see a lot more guys come into the sport and women that were not raised in rodeo. They played baseball, they played football, they played something, they're athletic, and they think that riding a bull or a bucking horse is badass. And it's like, yeah, it is. So you can take someone that is athletic, knows nothing about rodeo, and 2 years later, they're at the NFR. Cade Saunier, for instance, college baseball player, incredibly talented athlete, had never been on a bucking horse in his life. I was there for the first one he ever got on. That was 4 years ago. So you're talking about the trajectory of the sport and what he did in that amount of time just because of his athletic ability. Had nothing to do with him being around rodeo. We're starting to see that a lot more. So I just think it's getting that into the younger generations and showing them that, Dennis was saying back in the day, working out wasn't cool. And it was just about being tough and getting it done. And we still have that part of rodeo, being tough and getting it done. But I think now we are just seeing the benefits. And so changing that culture for the younger generations, I think, is huge. And it's going to be giant for the sport.
Well,
So
do you
we've
think
talked about it? I was just going to say, we've talked about that athletic ability multiple times, even at the collegiate level. We've talked about wrestlers making really good bareback riders. I mean, Weston Zimmerman is one of those guys that had minimal experience in rodeo, had been around it a little bit with his family, but was a wrestler. And so,
every single rookie in the bareback riding in the NFR this year was past wrestlers. Every single one of those kids wrestled. Yes, every single one of them.
Man, Brett Franks is onto something with that.
Yep. No, and that's a historical thing too. I think you look back at bareback riding in particular, like I'd say about 80% of them wrestled in their past.
I probably should just settle in with that. I'm not quite ready yet because my little guy wrestles, and Brett's already talking to me, and I'm like, I'm not ready to have this conversation yet. It's only 9.
Doug, do you think the evolution of rodeo cowboys becoming more focused on being rodeo athletes, do you think the roots of that stem back to the PBR and with the PBR bull riders? I mean, that's where I first noticed it, kind of the Brazilians. I mean,
that's exactly the Brazilians are the first people that you ever saw show up to rodeo, and they were like jacked. Like I remember watching Paulo Crimber and Adriel Marias and all those guys, and their arms were huge, and they looked so different than any of the American bull riders. And I think that it did start. I would say that is probably where it got its start or got more popular, but bareback riders for sure, I think in the pro rodeo sense, have been starting that trend. Casey Field, Bobby Moat, Bobby Moat really was the one first one I ever saw working out and doing it on an actual program. He actually came to my college when I went to Sam Houston State in Huntsville, and he was entered there at the pro rodeo, seeing a place to work out. So he came and worked out at the gym with me at the college and stuff. And that was the first time I'd ever seen someone do a program that was specifically for rodeo. But, the PBR started that. I think this really hasn't become a thing the last 5 years. It's starting to become popular. Maybe 10 years started getting introduced, but this last 5 years, you've really seen the growth of the rodeo athlete and not just rodeo cowboys.
Well, I remember last year, Taylor Munsell did an interview in between the rounds of the breakaway, and she said it was cool. She went down to the gym the morning of the first, before the first round, and there was her traveling partner. It's part of the Ropers program now. It's not just the rough stock. Anybody that wants to compete at a high level and be a winner realizes that they're not just rodeo cowboys and cowgirls. They are athletes. And somebody posted the other day that upset about Rocker. He's not a cowboy. Well, Rocker's a cowboy, but he's also a professional rodeo athlete. He's a rodeo athlete. He's a star.
He was a world champion wakeboarder as a child. He played every single sport they would let him. He was an athlete before he got on bucking horses. And on top of that, his folks did it so perfect when they brought him up. In bareback riding, you start talking about young kids getting on. They're not fully developed. They're getting on horses they shouldn't be, and they don't make it far. They get burnt out or hurt. What they did with him was perfect. They hand-picked every horse that he got on and made sure that there were steps along the way. He had to be in the gym. He had to be getting on the bucking machine. He had to be able to ride those things appropriately before he went and got on bucking horses. So, Rocker is a cowboy, and he's damn sure an athlete. That guy is a freak.
Yeah.
So let's step back to Taylor real quick. She did give y'all a little shout out
Yeah, and she's been killing it.
I can't remember the exact scenario, but she dang near came off. I don't know if her horse just stopped short, but
Oh, he was tight. He was real tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said I wouldn't have been able to stay in the buggy if I wouldn't have been working with Champion Living Fitness. So
yeah,
I mean,
it's so cool. It's so cool, and it's like you said, the rough stock is where it started, but the timed event is where I really think people could get the most out of this. You talk about, well, there's way more competition in those events, first of all, and then you start thinking about these are going to be the people that, and this is from from experience, they're much more likely to put money into supplements for their horse or training for the horse than they are for themselves because they think that is everything. And I just have a hard time people not seeing the fact that, like, you're telling me if you couldn't ride your horse a little better, be in better position, be able to get the rope, be able to get that rope out of your hand quicker, those are all going to make you better at what you're doing. It's not about looking
to make his job better.
Exactly. And I think once we start adjusting that mindset and how people really look at that, and honestly, it's a barrel racing is where I see that the most, is like these girls just want to load their horses up and they don't want to look at themselves in the mirror and say, damn, maybe I'm not doing him justice or her justice, as I'm riding him. And that's a hard conversation to have with yourself, but it's something I think that needs to be said. And these timed event athletes could benefit tremendously from exercise and fitness.
You're preaching to the choir about someone having to look in the mirror and have that conversation with himself, and that I am living proof of that. And I mean, I took a major drastic step. We talked about it last time we were on the show a couple years ago, but it was once I looked in the mirror and had that conversation with myself, that's the hardest thing a person has to do. The person we compete the most with is the man in the mirror, or the woman in the mirror, and if we can have that conversation with ourselves, it opens up so many possibilities and doors. And what you guys have got going at Champion Living is amazing. I mean, I follow you guys on Instagram, all your social media platforms. It's just, you guys are leading the trend in, rodeo athlete training and bringing it to the next generation. And you're going to make sure our sport's around for a long time, and we have quality competitors that are on the Cowboy Channel for years to come. So it's exciting.
Man, thanks. That fires me up because that's the goal, man. We want to see the sport keep going and keep getting better, and this is the only way to do it, is we can start sowing into the next generations and getting the information out there. I feel that's another thing. It's intimidating to start a training program. It's intimidating to look up nutrition, and you just don't know where to start. And that's why making the investment in hiring a coach, it doesn't have to be us. There's a lot of other coaches out there doing this. They're doing a great job, but get someone that's on your side, has your best interest in mind and can show you this plan and get you there. Because it's not as scary as you think, and you're probably doing way less than you think you would have to, if that makes sense. Like working smarter, not harder, when you have a program that,
Well, and I think people have to, when they go out and they look for that program or look for that trainer or that person to help them, I truly think that they've got to not go find somebody. You can't go find somebody that's going to be a yes person. Find somebody that's going to give you the truth, the cold hard facts. And it's not what you want to hear, but it's going to be what you need to hear to help you get better, because
exactly.
And I'm not saying it's in our rodeo world, but I also follow a lot of nutrition stuff on social media. There's a lot of yes men out there. They just want, hey, give me $50.
Yeah, we might be. You're cutting in and out now, Tony.
Well, you mentioned even like the breakaway girls. I made one of my breakaway ropers mad a few years ago. I told her, I said, you're just gonna have to lose a few pounds, and it didn't even come up that way. I didn't just bluntly throw it out there. She kind of brought it up, and I said, do you really want the honest truth? Can you take it? And she goes, yeah. Tell me. I said, you need to lose some weight. You've gained some weight since you got here. And I said, you can't get up quick enough to get out of your hand. You're in the back of your saddle pulling your horse back, coming across the line, trying to get up. I said, you have to, and I've had bronc riders come and not really listen. I tell them, let's do a few less curls at night around the campfire, and let's do a few more curls in the gym,
Exactly, yeah.
Let's do something besides 12-ounce curls.
Absolutely. So Doug's going to try to join us as long as he can, but I know that morning performance is going to be kicking off pretty quick. Before we have to say peace out to Doug, I do want to mention that Champion Living Fitness is going to be partnering with our college rodeo recruitment platform, which I'm
Yes.
super excited about. We want to try to, like he mentioned, bring some of this lifestyle, I suppose, to the younger generation. So we're going to be reaching out to those subscribers in the recruitment community and offer them kind of some bonus content for Doug and for his coaches. So if you guys have been on the fence about that, that's just one more added value in that recruitment platform that we're going to bring. The other thing, and I know, Doug, you've partnered with her before, is Katie Hollingsworth. She's going to be bringing some of that sports psychology piece to the platform.
Perfect.
So we're super excited. If we lose you, I want to give you a shout out. Thank you so much for joining us. I know that you have your guys' podcast coming in, not every morning, but many mornings while you're there. And I know you've been on multiple other shows, so we greatly appreciate it. We think that we're the best because it's super easy to get on in the casino, right?
Yep. Absolutely. It is. It is awesome. This is too easy. Yeah, if you guys are in town, we are podcasting live here at Resorts World in the mornings, starting tomorrow and through the rest of the week. We'll be at the BFO tent with Hui, talking to bullfighters and talking about fitness and nutrition. They've got a whole hangover setup. So if you do get hungover, they've got IVs, all the stuff you need over there. Come check it out. Come listen to us bullshit and have a good time.
I'll be there tomorrow morning.
Come on with it. It'll be fun. Come check it out.
Yes, sir.
But we're just getting ready to go head to the round here and just watch these guys bucking horses for breakfast.
Yeah.
Love it.
Perfect.
Love it.
Thank you so much, Doug. You guys have a good week. We'll be watching.
Yes, ma'am. Talk to you guys soon.
right.
Have a good one. See y'all.
I'll see you tomorrow, Doug.
Bye.
So you have to go. Yeah, that's where
I'll
you
go.
should do our show from.
Our show from their show.
I want bacon in my Bloody Mary and jerky, and forget the vegetables. I need meat.
You want me to put an In-N-Out burger in the Bloody Mary or what?
Fried chicken leg.
Yes, now we're talking. So I feel like we got him in on our broadcast right at the beginning of their launch. So it's always great to kind of check back in and see what's happened over the years. So it's been fun to watch his little business take off.
Oh, man, they're doing outstanding. Outstanding.
All right, Dennis, you have a fan club. Let's see.
Probably owe him money. They found me.
They found you. Here we go. Norm, Dusty Green, shout out to Dennis. Longtime friend, great dude, friend, travel mate, roommate from 40 years ago. I feel like you might have opened yourself up to some stories there, buddy.
Norm is a kid I knew back in Western Kansas, and we lived in this shack in Arnold, Kansas, population 10. And my best story on him is I caught a rattlesnake. I'd run over it, thought I killed it, threw it in a plastic bag, and he was laying on the floor in the living room, and I just dropped that bag on his belly, and then it moved. And he went from being flat on his back to standing on the back of the couch and just had this massive vowel movement and hit me with an empty beer can with precision accuracy. And after he got done yelling, we stuck that snake in the freezer, and I got a whole summer's worth of fun out of that dead snake because it had curled up like it was, and I'd thaw its neck out and people would come over to the house, and I would run some water over that frozen snake and stick it in front of the door or whatever. So
that
was a good time.
Awful.
I'm guessing you spent some time in the peanut
Frozen
club.
rattlesnakes, tons of fun.
The Peanut Club. What?
Out there west of Hayes. Yeah, that where old dancers went to retire forever. It was truly the end of the road. Yeah, I'd almost forgot about that.
That was maybe my first year, my first college rodeo at Hayes. Went out to the old Peanut Club.
Oh,
I think I was with Jimmy Morris, and believe it or not, we had a large time.
That's hard to believe with Jimmy because he's such a calm, just straight-laced guy. So
we're getting requests now, Dennis.
Yeah, I see that. Somebody told me here, somebody just texted me and said I needed to put on my official hat. So
Looking good.
got to represent, right?
We might have you
Yes,
play
that's the
that.
brand.
We might have you play that when we're signing off.
Okay.
Well, let's get to the fun stuff. We talked about the bareback riding. Great round of bareback riding. Great horses out. The interview was awesome, man. And Amy Wilson. So it was the same two guys that was in the interview at Puyallup, and she says, "Oh, this is deja vu," and I was like, "This is gonna be awesome." And he had to practice,
He had to have been just a little nervous.
But Jaco was like, "Man, that felt like a really, really good dream." And he said, "I'll just leave it at that."
Well, he posted on Facebook, "If you know, you know."
Yeah, so maybe some of our viewers didn't watch the other day, but if you don't know what we're talking about, go back to just pull up Jaco Roper interview with Amy Wilson at Puyallup, and it'll come up. But yeah, that was pretty good. And I kind of even called it yesterday, didn't I, Tony? I said he has Virgil, and that could be good. And Jayton was telling me, he goes, he's gonna get jerked down. I'm like, no, he's gotta do good. We got to see an interview.
Well, the greatest thing though is Bigelow goes out, or Jaco goes out 89.5. Bigelow's 89.5.
Oh.
And I look over, we're driving. I'm like, this is a recreation of Puyallup right here. Here we go. And you see Bigelow standing like, where's this going to go? And Jaco just handled it great. But then he gets on the stage. I did watch a buckle ceremony, and he went full Jaco from Puyallup on that.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
It's just now playing. I'll have to go back. And I can't hear it. I have it turned down, but I was going to comment. Did Caleb Schmidt win the calf roping last night, I guess?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I will wait for the calf rope, but I got to say, I seen his little boy on stage twirling the rope around. He can't swing it right, but he's twirling the rope around. And it reminds me of my boys, when they was little, they had a rope in their hand. And this is just a joke, but really he should whip him with that rope and hand him a golf club.
100%. 100%.
Give me that.
Oh.
But see, the bulldogging, that, it's kind of funny. Mike Greenleaf called me this morning and goes, well, I hadn't gotten to see much. How's it? I said, man, you missed it. Last night was finally pretty exciting. And two runs right in a row with controversy, of course. But so everybody out there is hauling for instant replay. And yeah, it could probably happen, and it might help some things, but I don't think you can totally fix everything, for one thing.
Yeah, so what would they do?
Well,
are they going to give them a rerun? Are they going to comb it?
Some things, some spur outs and slaps and crossfires, whatnot. But as far as, well, let's talk about the deal with Will.
Yeah.
Even if you replay that, for one thing, they'd have to change the declare rule. That'd be one thing, because he went ahead and tried him and got off. The other thing is the steer didn't go down. I call that a money stumble.
Yeah, if he rocks the barrier right there and catches him and throws him in 2-9, if he had instant replay and one of the other competitors, hits a button, say, hey, he should get another one, that steer stumbled. So
yeah, that's what people don't think about. If you put a rule in like that, does it say if he stumbles, do you get the choice, or do you have to,
you have to take it.
So like Tony said there, it's so you get, me and Tony have sat in boardrooms, and I just thought about that this morning or last night. I forgot to even mention Amberly, and me and Tony were you in there when Amberly came in the boardroom?
Nope. That was in between my transition, my coaching transition from Cal Poly to Fresno, but I remember hearing about it.
Yeah, I tell you what, I've sat on several boards. That was a tough day right there. That was one of them deals, because Amberly wanted another year of rodeo. She wanted a red shirt her year that she got hurt. According to the rules, when she got hurt, she'd already competed in too many rodeos to void that card.
And that's 5 or more, right?
Do what?
It's 5 rodeos?
No, it's
3.
30%. It's basically 2 rodeos in our region. pretty much every region. If you compete in 2 rodeos, you're done. You can compete in 1 rodeo, then get hurt and still void your card. But once you've competed in 2 rodeos, then you have to protest it or file a grievance. But she filed a grievance, and I mean, according to the rules, where do you draw the line? That's one of them deals that when you're sitting in the board meetings, it's a tough deal.
Yeah.
We did. The board did ultimately give her the year back, I believe, for various reasons. But so anyhow, when you're thinking of them rules, So the other deal with WAG, the rule reads, which I seen one Dave Brock posted a deal a while ago, and I don't know if that's in the judge's handbook, but he underlined where it said all 4 legs have to be straight out. The PRCA rule that I found said they all have to be in the same direction. So everybody that's screaming, when that steer hit and that leg, you can kind of see that leg, but that leg's still under that steer. It's not coming out. The leg didn't even pop out until he was standing up. And you still have to have a hand on him.
Well, and I think what people don't understand, Jim Boy, and I think this goes back to the team rope or crossfire too. What we're seeing on television is not the view the judge is seeing. They're trapped kind of behind the run because the way that arena's set up, and it makes them hard. They want to make it right, but like I say, even Luke was very vocal about it last night on the commentary. But those judges have a tough job in front of them.
Okay.
And what's instant replay do in that situation? Are you just gonna, okay, we think you should have got a time there? No, you can't fix that one on instant replay.
And the rules don't say like the leg coming out. The rule doesn't say it has to be close to coming out. It doesn't
got to be out.
He's a good guy, and everybody likes him, and it's like in youth rodeo on the spur out rule. You hear judges or you see them, well, it was close, well, this is PRCA, it's pro rodeo. So I threw the 673 pages of rules for the addendum for the crossfire. I threw it out the window this morning, and I wrote a new. The rule is new rule. He's straight, no. He's kinda, no, yes.
I feel like drawings would help.
And I just say throw out the part of he has to be in forward motion. I'll promise you what was seen last night, and this is what happened to him back in February, the controversy at San Antonio or whatever. That steer switched, but his ass was still going down the pin. His body wasn't going forward. I'm almost going to say that was their reasoning last night. Was that his body was turned, he was switched, he wasn't going forward, he was going down the pin.
Well, and I think also, I think where the flagger was, because of the position, I think Logan's horse blocked to see even that all the judge saw was that steer in the switch. He couldn't see if he's going forward or not, because the way he rode, and so that's real time. They're seeing that in real time where we're getting the replay, slow motion, everything else.
And there's people commenting about the flagger. Has he ever team roped before? Yes. That shouldn't. He's in the wrong position. There should be a guy at the strip and shoot. We talked. There's a guy on the wall down there. There is another judge helping with that call. Was it close? Definitely. Was the one with Luke, with Jake Long the other night? Was it close? That it was almost the same as the one last night, and he got away with it. So,
and I guess if that runs down the pin another 15 feet and they're 4.6, 4.7, it's it's still a controversy, but the fact that they were 3-1, they were setting an NFR record. I mean, Coleman Proctor hits the barrier, blitzes him, and Logan eats him up. So that just adds, more fuel to fan the flames of the crossfire rule. But you can't take away from, Hunter Cook and Luke Brown being 3-8. Luke Brown's the old grizzled veteran and just goes off. Then Ren and Jeremy are 4 flat. Patrick and Tanner are 4 flat. Andrew and Buddy scratch again. But then they place with legs. Clay Smith, Peyton Bray, and Jake claim Tyler Worley 8-9. So typical NFR team roping, comes in like a lion, goes out like a lamb, or comes in like a lamb and goes out like a lion. So
not to beat a dead horse here, but whoever is the crossfire judge drew the short straw. Like, that's like being the underwriter in a real estate transaction. You don't get to know who the crossfire judge is or the underwriter. I feel like that would be a terrible gig to have.
well, it's easy to find out. It's the one judge is going in with bulletproof vest on from the Brinks truck, got headgear on, and all that stuff.
No, they're going in incognito. Ain't nobody know who he is.
And to point out while we're talking about rule infractions and whatnot, I know Rod Swafford has been asking on here the last few days to see the fine list. Everybody remember last year there was a picture taken of it. Manez promoted, put out there for everybody to see. So I asked somebody last night. I said, "What about the fine? What about the fine sheet out at Stall Barn?" I said, "Was they kind of maybe?" told not to put that out there, and the answer was they was told to keep it hush hush. Let's not do that. And the guy told me, he says, "I'd go take a picture of it, but I don't even want to get caught taking it." He goes, I'll go look at it and tell you if there's anything special on there, but pretty much he goes, "I don't even want to risk getting caught taking a picture of it."
We knew that was coming.
Basically, he said just some drag fines and not ready fines, nothing too big. I think he said Caleb Schmidt a few deals, like in the drag or the jerk. I don't know, but the Pirate did get a $250 fine, I guess, for non-Western attire in the Grand Entry. So
well, that's how the Cowboys in the Caribbean dress. I don't see how they call it non-cowboy.
Well, that's what Jayden at a high school rodeo a few years ago wore a little short-brimmed hat, and he was told by a judge that he could get in trouble for that. And I'm like, so are we not going to allow an Amish kid to compete if they show up? I mean,
I love it. Oh, hey, what about this?
Steve Burney just posted, for the 2024 season, there will not be a crossfire judge. The call will be back on the field flagger.
Steve, were you not watching our show the other day? I was told that the other day. They're just putting it back on the flagger. And
well, they only want one guy with the bullseye on his back, not two.
Just put the drawing in the rule book. No. Yeah. He's game.
No. Yeah. Get him.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then the whole deal of, when does the throw start? I mean, the throw starts when the tip is behind your head. And coming, I mean, does it have to leave the hand? Does it have to be on the ground?
Is it out of the hand? Yeah.
So.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's go to a fun event, the saddle bronc riding. Zeke the Freak Thurston breaks through 91 points last night on explosive skies. Poor Ryder Wright, he gets tapped off 2 nights in a row, thinks he's going to pull a check. He's 89.5 last night, all or nothing to Andrews Rodeo, and he wins second. Zeke just spurred the hair off one. Jim Boy, Brody Crest places again. Tanner Butner. I mean, it was a fun watching round of saddle bronc riding.
There's a few horses that weren't maybe as strong as they can be at times. But man, that explosive skies, he definitely showed why he's saddle bronc horse of the year. That dude bucked.
We got super excited about Dennis, and we didn't talk about our NFR Hangover Pro Fantasy League. But only reason I remembered it is because I have Brody Crest, and while he has not won a lot, he is right there in the average as usual. I think that's his norm, to be in the average. But do we want to wait, or do you want me to show our go-round winner?
I didn't even look at it.
Let's see.
So I will say it's not as easy to look at the go-round winner this year. I think they're still working on it or something, but I had to click through quite a few to find the round winner. So there were a lot of people that did well, different names that did well. So the round 5 Pro Fantasy League winner is ASR Squared. and I should have looked before now to see whose team that is. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. But it just seems like there were a lot of teams that placed up a little bit higher than they have.
Is there anywhere on there where you can see the overall leaders like we used to?
That's all you can see is the overall. So I have to click through everything to see who is leading the round. So,
but I mean, like for the whole big game, not just
ours. Oh yeah, I suppose I haven't even looked at that.
I haven't been able to find that.
ASR Squared is a team created by William Morris. So let me look and see if I can find that.
That's probably Cody.
So yeah, shoot us a message and we will get you your go-around stuff. Let me look around and see. Go ahead and take off if you want.
Let's see.
Official.
Lost our stats guy. I'm just the color commentator. What all events did you do at College Rodeo, Dennis?
Primarily bull riding. They suckered me into bronc riding, and I can honestly, I placed in the average on 2 head, but I only rode 1, or I rode 2 for a total score of 90 points. If that tells you how my scores were, and the first score was like 48. And then they dropped me to a 46, and I was hollering at the judges. I'm like, God dang, 48 was plenty low. And they go, well, that was a pretty bad ride. And then they're laughing. They say, well, it's not like you're going to get another one. I'm like, well, thank God, because I didn't want one. And then they got everybody at the gate. And that's when Danny Etbauer and Craig Latham and all of those guys, Corey Hughes. And I mean, there were some wolves in the bronc riding. And I made it into the short round. Now I'm really scared. Do you remember that horse of Floyd's, Red River?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that out of all of them that he had, that's the one to have in the short round. And I was 50 some points on her, and Bronc was picking up, and he was like, "Well, give her head." He's riding beside me, and I'm like, "Well, she'll buck me off. I don't want to," because I was just trying to pull her head back. But it showed me his place in like 4th or 5th in the average with 91 points. And I just tell everybody, yep, I was 91 points.
Do you remember what was the Sorrel? Was it Sorrel Top, the bareback horse that lived to be about 30? They bucked him until he was 25 or 26, maybe.
Sorrel Top or TC or, yeah.
I remember at Alva's College Rodeo, you come walking in the lean-to portion of the Alva Dome, and that horse is just loose, standing over there eating out of a rubber tub, eating grain by itself.
Yeah.
I think it was blind at that time too. I can't, blind in one eye. Somebody out there can tell us. I
couldn't see out of the other. So yeah, and then Chic, I think that was the first one I got on, the one that bucked with his head clear back in your face. And so, yeah, they made me get on a couple. They tried to get me to steer wrestle, but I could never let go of the horn. I mean, I could crawl back in the buggy and look like I was a flying Walinda, just bulls.
That was Casey Coletti when he rodeoed for me. Went to the NFR and bareback riding afterwards, but he entered the bulldogging at Guyman. Thought he'd try it, and he rode by, got to the other end. The horse got to the corner, turned around, and come running back up in front of the bucking chutes there at Guyman. He couldn't grab the reins. He dropped the reins and just had both hands on the saddle horn. When he finally got the horse stopped, he's like, I'm never doing that again.
Yep, I can agree.
All right,
you can tell me that jumping off a horse is worse than getting on a bull.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Man.
Did you find what you're looking for, Heidi?
No, I think you're right. I can only find the round, which is funny because in our league, I can only find the overall. So that's not helpful at all.
Yeah, I seen in one of their Snapchats the other night, they had a room full of people sitting around with computers, laptops, except for Brady Hageman. He had a beer in his hand, I think. But several other people were sitting around on laptops working on things. So,
Well, I will tell you, overall in our league is Rope Tough with $503,353.97, followed by Dark Horse with 485,190. Oh, Dark Horse has 485,193, and then Slim with a Tilted Brim has 485,192. So I will say Slim with a Tilted Brim, Bad Mother Buckers, and then fifth in our league is Lazy Bar R. And then spoiler alert is in the sixth hole. So,
well, I seen a lady this morning on the unofficial page, Cowboy Channel page, asking about the insurance deal on her bull rider, and somebody says, if you're thinking about dropping Kai, that would be a terrible mistake.
yes.
I'm like,
Because
hold on. I even got the sheet to look to see who all was leading. Oh, it's on the back of my team roping rule. I had to look and see. So Josh Frost came in behind Kai, and then Tristan. I sure wouldn't lose insurance. I sure wouldn't use insurance to go there. But if I could drop down and pick up Sage, that might be worth doing. But I think I'll just stick with Kai.
Yeah. You know that he's not going to let that stand in his way. So I'm seeing the PRCA is making announcements that he is not going to be riding today in the sixth round. But it sounded to me like that wasn't his choice.
Well, I don't know. Like PBR has
like protocol.
I don't know if the PRCA does. Do you know, Dennis?
I don't. And did they find out? Was he concussed or was it?
Yeah, he said he broke a rib. He didn't actually hit head to head. He came over the horn, and I don't know. I don't know if he was knocked out when he came up in the air, or if he wasn't knocked out till he hit the ground. He hit his head on the ground, but. DJ was saying that he broke a rib, has a bruised lung. They had a concussion. I think I seen the deal where Kai shared on Snapchat or something. He was eating a pizza.
I saw that.
Said he'd be back in the morning, and so I don't know. I don't know if they can tell him you have to sit out. If he turns out this morning, he has to turn out tonight, but he can be back tomorrow.
So,
really?
Yeah, if you turn out one, you have to turn out two go-rounds. You can't turn out just one go-round. That kind of goes back to the Tough Hedeman deal when he had to just stand over the top of Bodacious when he didn't want to. After Bodacious about killed him off at the PBR finals, and then he drew him at the NFR. That was the deal where he just kind of was over him. And what Sage had to do something.
Had to have your hand in the rope, and you had to nod, but you didn't have to.
Yeah.
So can Kai do that?
Do what?
Can Kai do that this morning? Or he can't. So then he'd at least stay in for the average.
Yeah, he could do that this morning, and we'll get on tonight.
So the article on ProRodeo.com says Dr. Tandy Freeman quotes Kai. I quote Dr. Tandy Freeman: Kai and the bull smacked heads against one another, which it did not look like that. It looked like it hit him lower than his noggin.
I think he came forward when it hit him in what appeared his shoulder.
That might be what broke his rib.
Freeman said Hamilton will miss round 6, which is at 10 Wednesday, and will be reevaluated for round 7, which is at 5:45. He's doubtful for competition Wednesday evening. So I don't know that they're talking to Kai about what his wishes are.
How much influence does Kai have over that?
Yeah, I don't know. In the PRCA, I don't, like the PBR where you're salaried and they have more of a hand in telling you what you can do. I'm guessing if Kai wants to show up this morning and do the Tough Hedeman deal, I'm guessing they can't stop him. So.
I mean, he's a young guy and he's got a hell of a future. But he's, I mean,
here's one deal. I would say I'm not sure the rule. I would have to bring in Jimmy Morris, our rule guy. But if he turns out, does that take him completely out of the average? If he stands over the next two even, does that keep him in the average because he's just a buck off then?
I see.
That'd be the
Yeah,
interesting point there.
That's what I'm wondering, is that he has to get on one or at least get over one so he can stay in the average.
And the other thing to look at, say the bull this morning isn't very good, don't typically, and then he might for self-preservation, just to kind of stay healthy or to be working, buy some time. If that bull, if he thinks he ain't going to be good enough to win any money, or if he's kind of out of line, whatever. And I don't think that's in his mind, but not being healthy, who knows? But
so they did. I mean, he's in the draw. He drew Love the Grinds. I don't know. Bouchon?
That draw, the draw was out. I think this morning's draw was out before the perf last night. So now I'd be interested to see if tonight's draw has been posted yet.
It has. I'm not as fast.
Yeah, I'm not in my office. I'm in my other office.
7th performance. Okay, hold on. 7th performance. Bull riding. He's not. It doesn't have one drawn.
Well,
so I'd say that probably tells us more than anything else.
Yeah, that could be the deal.
Yep. So they had wins. This morning's perf was already drawn, and they did not draw him one for 7th performance.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So now we need to figure out if he's still in the average after missing. Like, can he still win the average?
Yeah, I don't know.
If he was cleared to ride tonight, would he automatically get the re-ride then? Since they didn't draw him one?
Possibly.
Our watchers are eerily silent. Usually we get answers.
Yeah, Jimmy must not be watching.
He's not out of bed yet. Jimmy's
well,
not.
It is 10. They're probably watching the dang rodeo.
Probably.
No, the rodeo don't start for another hour.
Oh, it's 10 where I'm at.
I don't know.
Time.
Oh, let's see.
What else? Did anything else magical happen last night?
Sage and Trey were the only two to ride one in the bull ride. That's pretty cool. Two brothers, you've kind of seen that with the Atbars before. And Craig, back when it was all Atbars and Craig Latham on the board or whatever. But, yeah, Sage and Trey looking good.
Can you think of any other brothers? I could think of Philip and David Fournier, but I can't think of anybody between then and now. I mean, the Wright boys, but I'm talking just bull riders.
Yeah. I don't know. Since then, I don't know.
The barrel racing.
Oh, what did happen in the barrel racing? Anything good there? The ground looked okay.
The ground did look okay. I only saw one horse kind of slip out, but everything looked really good. Summer Cosell with a 1342, Brittany Tanazi 1358, Sissy Wynn 1359. Last night was tight. 1360. Paige, Jordan, and Emily were all 1360 to split 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah, today will be interesting with the two-person one day. I could see Chongo coming back probably this morning for Emily, and then her going back to Liza tonight, maybe, since she'll be up higher on the ground. She's kind of coming back up on the position draw.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Some of them girls. I could see Lisa just staying with Levy for both rounds.
What is going on with Sister?
Just don't have the show. I don't know.
Yeah, she did change horses last night and had never rode that horse before. So I would say, considering she had never rode that horse before, still a pretty dang good run.
Well, I did text Emily when I was picking my teams, and I said, okay, I put you on one. You know, I'm not really that guy generally. You got to do good, but
yeah.
I said, what about Haley? She seems like Haley and Sage. Kimsey. I'm guessing they were the two highest percentage picks in Pro Fantasy Rodeo. And Emily told me, she goes, that's a great buy, you know. And she goes, her backup horse is pretty dang nice. So I was like, all right, I got this in the bag. And
so. Yeah, I kind of thought I did too. There's a couple of comments here. Bruce and Glenn for brothers.
Different than Bruce Ford in the bareback riding, and Glenn in the bull riding.
And then there's another one, Adam and Gilbert.
Yeah, I just saw that, and I'm like, oh, of course, I forgot about them. How could you forget about them?
Well, you know, it's been a while.
So our question here, would it be because tonight is round 6 and this morning is really round 1 with the draw? So it's not, correct?
No.
Round 1 draw was actually just moved to Friday.
Yeah.
So this morning is round 6. Tonight is round 7.
Yeah.
With the draw. So the draw everything pushed forward.
Yeah, they hadn't. I can't remember if the draw was out when the incident happened, but yeah, the original Thursday night draw was just pushed to Friday.
Yeah.
So.
Also, here is this. PRCA caught so much flack after JB. I bet they don't want that with Kai.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. And also, CJ's calling. I can't answer the phone, but I want to. Okay, you guys talk. I'm going to answer the phone.
Okay. Well, what's your other song? You got it ready?
Sure.
You want to play your other song?
I'll play whatever.
It was funny. It was funny the other night when I kind of put out there that you was coming on the show, and Stan Headings.
Yeah.
Like, what time's it start in the morning? I said, no, it's the next day. It's Monday night. I said, he's on Wednesday, not Tuesday. And he goes, well, I sure want to be on there to join. So.
Yeah. When Stan was working for Jerome, Stan was a hell of a bull rider. And man, his bucking horses look good up there. So
he's doing it.
Yeah, he really is. And then Don Reno has a pretty good bucking horse program. I remember watching him buck one of his first crops of his process, of his put it all together. They look good.
Yeah.
They look real good.
Well, I was glad to go ahead and play his other song real quick for us.
All right. Then we have an update on Kai.
Okay.
Why don't you do the update and I can, that's more important than this.
Okay. So I did just talk to CJ, who is Kai's rodeo coach, and he is riding. And I said, well, the PRCA didn't draw him a bull. And he said, well, that's their mistake. He did not doctor out. He is riding. So it was blunt force trauma to the chest. He did not hit his head, which I feel like, thank God, it was blunt force trauma to the chest. So he had broken rib, bruised lung. And then he's sending me this picture. So I'll put it together while you strum away. Iconic picture, because there's some pretty amazing bull riders in this picture. So you go to town and we'll get to it.
All right. Well, I'll It's been a long time now since I've been home. Seems I was on that road for so damn long. Through my window in the morning sun I see all the things I used to know when I was running free. Takes me back to when I was a child, and all the crazy stunts I pulled, and how my dad would smile when I spurred my stick horse around the backyard. I didn't always ride him, but I always tried him hard. And how he'd tell me, son, you gotta ride 'em like each one's your last. The sand in the hourglass is slipping by fast. It's more than the buckles, and it's more than the wind. Tomorrow is a day away, and you might not get a chance again. My mama loved me, and God knows she tried to change the path that I was on. She called suicide. I wouldn't listen, 'cause I just had to see what the world was all about and what it held for me. And so I hit the ground running like a leaf in the wind, with no idea what direction I should be headed in. I knew I was going, and down deep inside, I couldn't wait to feel that gate open when I said, let's ride. And how they tell me, son, you gotta ride 'em like each one's your last. The sand in the hourglass is slipping by fast. It's more than the buckles, it's more than the wind. Tomorrow is a day away, and you might not get the chance again. Just shy of 20 years now since she was born. I wish I knew where all the time is gone. Her trailer's loaded, it's her time to fly. There's a stick horse in the corner, and something in my eye. So girl, you go and run 'em like each run's your last. The sand in the hourglass is slipping by fast. It's more than the buckles, it's more than the wind. Tomorrow is a day away, you might not get the chance again.
That was a good song.
I say we dedicate that to Kai today.
You betcha. I was trying to get those pictures in there, and I was like, dang.
Well, I really appreciate you guys letting me hang out with you guys. This is pretty cool.
It'd be a good time to play my bulldogging video, my last steer wrestling run. You got to run it like it's your last, and that was definitely my last one.
Well, I think I saw that one. So, yeah.
We're gonna play it on here one of these days.
Yeah. So here's this picture. I'm sure it was this morning, actually, when it was taken. It's a terrible picture. It didn't come in very good, but you got Stetson and JB Mooney. And let me see if I can figure out.
Come on, Wyoming. Come on, Wyoming. Who is it?
Is that Dusty?
Yeah.
Well, I can't see. Jeez.
Put your glasses on.
I can't put my face that close to the screen. Nobody wants to see that close up. And then here is his declaration.
That's the one I saw this morning.
Yeah, bull riding didn't go so good, but the pizza's good. So he's coming back. That's good. We'll see. That also makes me nervous, but it looks like he's in good spirits and he's doing well. So,
well, carb loading, so he'll be ready.
Yeah. What were we talking about earlier? Good nutrition and healthy lifestyle. Listen, I think he can afford to eat some carbs right now.
I think so. The old diet used to be the EAN diet: gasoline, nicotine, and caffeine. So
And we didn't mention, if you didn't watch it or catch it, Donnie, I don't know if they'll find Donnie Gay for his comment off the cuff, and golly, I'm pretty sure they'll let it go. I hope, but
I mean, it could have been worse.
I'm sure they'll warn him. Hey, you got to be, but my goodness, holy shit, you got the dog shit
knocked out of him.
Man, I'm telling you, that was a hit now, and the fact that he's up and moving, and I mean. Tough as a box full of hammers, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think that last song, man, you need to. Has anybody ever taken any of your songs? And
so Austin Whaler, I don't know if you guys know who Austin is. So Austin released it a couple years ago. He helped me write that last verse. So for like 20 some years, it was just the first two verses and repeat the chorus. And he wanted to put it on his album, and he said, well, what do you think about putting a third verse? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it needs it. And then he kind of told me his idea, and I think that makes the whole story work better. So he's released it. Another guy's released it, a guy named Clint Clymer. I had another one about team roping that a guy named Carlos Washington released. He's got a Western swing band, and it's called One Way to Swing. And it was a #1 song in the International Western Music Association, according to their literature, for 6 months. So that was kind of cool.
Nothing against Austin. He's great. But, man, if Cody Johnson or Chancey Williams.
I wouldn't say no. I'm like, for the people that have cut it, I said, cut it all you want, but sing it how it feels right to you. I know how I sing it. Put your DNA on it and have fun with it.
Which, speaking of Chancey Williams, when they played the opening concert the other night, I wanted to put out there on Facebook land, you breakaway ropers can have 9 nights of the NFR, but Chancey and Brooke, they get the 10th round.
That guy's awesome. I mean, that guy, you want to talk about road warrior. I mean, he's worked his butt off.
He's gone hard.
Yeah.
He has gone hard. So Chancey and I actually rodeoed together, high school rodeoed together, and it's been really fun. They actually played at Josh and I's wedding. I think that was the last wedding gig they did. Yeah.
Well, he got to play the Ryman, and I've been following him, and I think in 2019 or 2018, whenever COVID hit, when Austin Whaler released that song, I was nominated for Songwriter of the Year in the Rocky Mountain Country Music Association as a co-writer with Austin on that. And I was up against Corb Lund, Ned Ledoux, Chancey Williams, Ian Muntz. I mean, it was a pretty stacked deck. So, there was zero chance of me winning, but just to be included at that group of guys was pretty cool.
Yeah, back in the day, they would play at the Beacon all the time, like the old Beacon.
Yeah.
And I would sing with them. That was a long time ago. That was before Brooke was in the band. So that was a long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they're lightning in a bottle. I like everything they do.
Yeah. It's nice to see them, kind of make it. Because I don't know. I think it's probably few and far between that musical acts make it. So
takes 20 years to be an overnight success. And
yeah.
I mean, like I said, they've grounded out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you guys, we're at the almost 10:30 mark. I'm supposed to go help preg check our cows. I might be late. So we'll talk about 2 rounds tomorrow morning. And actually, we have CJ Aragon on in the morning, so he'll get us some good insight anyways.
Well, guys, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Dennis.
Guys, have a great week, and I'll keep checking in on you. So have a great day, and we'll catch up another time.
Thanks, Dennis.
See you guys.
Oh, Tony's posting. He's trying to get back in. Tony, I'm not waiting because I drank too much coffee.
Tell him just to have good service tomorrow.
Yeah, have good service tomorrow. I fully expect to see you with the IV and a Bloody Mary in the massage.
Tony don't drink Bloody Marys. He drinks Shirley Templeton's.
Oh, Rodeo Bum, Shirley Templeton. That's what I drink. Jack Phillips thinks that Dennis should be our Rodeo Bum. I would be down with that. He's got some good stories. So today's Rodeo Bum is Dennis Anderson.
He wants a cap too. That's when he said something about marketing. I'm like, and I've had a few people ask me, when do I get an NFR Hangover cap? So, but I think today's show did prove we need Tony. I'm not as good as a stats guy as him. So it is.
Well, listen, I started statting yesterday, and I was reading the round before. So neither of us are stats people.
I'm not stats. I'm like, go at them one go round at a time.
Yeah, Tony's got job security in that for sure. So I'm going to go to the right thing here. Let's give a shout out to all of our partners, Cinch Jeans and Shirts, and Branded Buzzworm. If you guys have not been to their website, it's brandedbuzzworm.com, and use the promo code NFR Hangover for 25% off. So we're talking all the brands, Buckle Bunny Pimp, Rodeo Bum shirts, and hats, and I thought I had one more. And then they also have some coffee cups. There's quite a few different things on their website. And with this 25% off, you can probably still get it for Christmas. So make sure you guys check it out. Also, shout out to 180 Project. That's Tony's passion project. He talked a little bit about it this morning. Your biggest competition is who you see in the mirror. I know that's not what he says, but it's something like that. And Garden City Community College, go Broncbusters. Yeah. And one more, Bullfrog Creatives created a college rodeo recruitment coaching platform. Then you should be able to go to bullfrogcreatives.com to check that out. It is subscription based. After the first of the year, we'll start all the content there.
Kids just need to go there if they haven't been recruited. If they're if they're kind of looking for somewhere to go, they just need to go get on there.
Yeah, if you don't know where to go, or you think you want a college rodeo, and I don't think it's ever too early to get in there. So I've got some parents of freshmen that have been reaching out to me. So just check it out. Go in, check it out. There's tons of free resources if you're not ready to subscribe. But I will tell you that the subscriptions are super affordable. Thank you to our sponsors. Garden City Community College is one of them. We hope to be able to announce a few more after the first of the year, but we're trying to keep it affordable for everybody. So just go check it out. If you guys have any questions, reach out to us, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Listen, I'm not going to lie. We're probably going to go long tomorrow morning because we got 2 rounds to talk about. And if I get these 3 rodeo coaches together, it's going to be real hard to manage. Truth. So we will catch you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.